Hey, welcome to Three Conservative Gimps, where we give you the information you need to make great choices in the upcoming elections. So, we've got a great show for you tonight. We finally got everything all working. We got somewhat the Stream Deck is working. I've got some of the sound effects working. Thanks to my good buddy Lloyd, who will be joining us shortly. So, we got some good stuff to talk about. So, let's get the show on the road. Let's welcome my good friend and the dulcet tones of Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, Art. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling better today. Oh my God. As I was telling Art before the show, I made the gal on Exorcist look like a lightweight. Oh my God.
What?
I was sick. I have a thing called diverticulitis, which is stuff in my intestines that doesn't. And I love peanuts. And every so often I have to indulge, but I overindulged on the peanuts and it ended up, it made me pretty sick. So
Yeah.
I've
You
been
gotta
eating
watch
Roman noodles.
anything with seeds in it, like
I do.
tomatoes,
Yep,
strawberry.
I do. Yeah,
Mhm.
yep. And I overindulged, and I knew I'd done it Thursday night. I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going to end well. Friday morning, I got up, and it was everything
Oh
I'd
boy.
eaten was no longer going through, but coming back. So yeah, needless to say, you know, they talk about that. What they call that hurling on the in the when they swing the cattle or the is that what they call that anyway? I made
Spinning the
hurling an
head
Olympic event.
of pea soup.
Well, yeah, that. I made that. That was amateur compared to what I did. And poor Judy. Fortunately, she slept through it, or I'd have had more to clean up. But it was
Oh
just
boy.
it was bad. But and so I've been eating ramen soup and
Good.
popsicles for the last 3 days. So
That's good. And
everything's
speaking of popsicles, let's welcome our ever talkative Charles. Welcome, welcome.
Popsicles? How did I become a popsicle?
Well, because you're so cool, man.
It's been so long since I've been licked, it's not funny, so there's no way I could be a popsicle.
Yeah, you went there, didn't you?
Well, give me a big enough opening, and I'm going to drive the 18-wheeler through it. So
there you go. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that was funny. That was good.
Well, and I've got some diverticulitis, just a few pockets from my last colonoscopy, but my dad had it really bad. Almost ended up with a colonoscopy. So
you mean a colostomy bag?
Colostomy, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
no shit. So
yeah,
they do. Yeah, you don't want that. No.
And I've been lucky that I haven't ever had to have surgery for it. My dad had surgery for it, like you. My dad had it as well, and he ended up having surgery for it, and it's not a fun thing. And it's just
it isn't. You're pooping into a bag.
Yeah,
from your
exactly.
Stomach. Yeah.
My cousin that we just lost a couple of weeks ago. That's what he ended up with. His colon shut down and it just was dying off, so they had to go in there and resection it and put a. Of course, he ended up in the end dying. Passed away about.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, well, he was young. He was just 3 years older than me.
Wow.
And he was the youngest in his family, and so it was kind of hard on everybody. But it happens.
Well, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We've got quite a few people from the other side of the pond. We've got Steve Knowles. We've got Cool Cat. And we got Adrian Mateo. Awesome. Great to see you. Droning with Jamie. We got Jody Drone Shots. Good to see you. And we also have Charles Gillespie, Chris Wedgeworth. Good to see you. We got a good group tonight, which is great. So, Elvin, Rob Supreme just showed up.
Yeah.
Good to see you. So, how about those indictments? One more indictment and Trump will be president. Fourth indictment, all the way from Georgia.
It's I look at the news and I watch it, and believe it or not, there hasn't been a lot of news really going on about that indictment. There's still other things in the news that seem to be trumping it, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
A little play on words, but yeah, it's Adrian says he has a lot to say about that. Adrian Mateo is on my channel.
Okay, great.
And
I will.
Yeah, there's a I don't know. I don't know if he'll recover from this or not, but it doesn't seem to be hurting his popularity.
Nope.
And it's tactics like, I mean, this is worse than anything that is done by, like when Richard Nixon and Watergate sending those guys into, they're breaking into the Watergate Hotel. That was child's play compared to what this is,
Mm-hmm.
And even all the fallout from that, and the eventual resignation from.
Right.
Try that in a small town. Exactly. Hey, Mel, he's watching over on my channel. And Mark.
I mean, this is Banana Republic crap. I mean, really.
Yeah, because
they want to stop somebody from
running
for president.
Right.
I mean, are they?
Yeah.
What are they that afraid of him? I mean, it's all about power, and they want to hold on to it, and they want to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't, because he was quite popular during his term. The only thing that did him in was COVID and the way he handled it. He handled it poorly, in my opinion. And it just came off as he didn't give a crap,
And I think a lot of that has to do with his, he's a great businessman. I mean, he's been a successful businessman. He's been a successful TV star, but I don't think he was really ready for the primetime politician part. And I think he was, what am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
The government that runs behind the scene was in control of stuff enough, and he was giving some bad advice, like who's that? Not the knothead.
You mean
COVID czar, Fauci. Yeah. He was told Fauci was good at what he did, and all they were doing was covering up for Fauci. And he had some other people that he didn't clean house like he should have, like he was going to. And I think it came back to bite him in the end.
All right, let's welcome all the way from Gainesville, Florida. He's not a gimp, but hey, he's a great guy. Let's welcome Adrian Mateo. Welcome.
Hey.
Good to have you, my friend.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good,
We're
Adrian.
doing all
Long time
right.
no see.
Yep.
Brother Charles, Lloyd, Art, everybody in the chat. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Doing good,
I'm glad
Adrian.
everybody's doing great. I am. It so happened that I caught you guys at the right time because I just literally pulled into my property. Just went up for a little trip with the kids. Anyway, so Lloyd, you actually went ahead and touched up on a couple you said something about the more they harass him, the more popularity he gets, and it's true. It's kind of like backfiring on the liberals. They think that the more they talk trash, the more people are gonna hate him. But the thing is that I believe people started to wake up from the bullshit. Pardon my French, and people are figuring out that it's like a two-tier justice that we have here when it comes to liberals and Republicans. It's just that
Yeah.
If Trump sneezes or scratches his ass with the right hand or the left hand, they want to put him in prison. If he talks, they want to put him in prison. If he drinks water, how dare he drink water? They're going to put him in prison. But yet all these people do everything they want to, the liberals, and nobody says nothing about it. But you know what? I blame a lot of the Republicans too, Lloyd. They're actually a bunch of freaking cowards, a bunch of idiots that don't stick with each other.
Well, yeah, and I've argued that point all along. The more that they, during the no Trump campaign while he was president, and all those Republicans that sided against him, I've said this all along: do not destroy your own party by trying to destroy the other. And just because you may not be friends with the guy who is running, it doesn't mean you've got to destroy your own party, because everything that they said against him is being used against him. Say, well, his own party said this and his own party said that. Look at Mike Pence. There's a perfect example of somebody who is using anything he might thinks he might know as a way to propel himself forward in the upcoming debates and in the upcoming campaigns and all they're doing is hurting themselves. I mean, the Republicans are destroying themselves from within, this is why they keep Trump out there. I think the liberals want him out there to say, hey, look how bad he is. And then you got a few people saying, like Mike Pence, I'm using him for example. Well, and even Ron DeSantis, are starting to say, and then no matter who gets the nomination, then the Democrats are going to use all those sound bites are going to be used for commercials against the Republicans.
But you know what, Lloyd? The liberals actually do a better job protecting each other.
They do.
If the conservative actually do the exact same tactic when they come within their own party, they'll probably do better. For example, like what you said with Mike Pence. At one point, I respected the guy, but all the crap that coming out of his mouth, I lost respect for him. I don't have any respect for him, and honestly, Ron DeSantis kind of rubbing me the wrong way too. He kind of rubbing me the wrong way as well. I mean, I don't want to be too critical either because I do like him, but some of the BS he's talking about, I don't know. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. They don't. I think Ron DeSantis would be a great presidential nominee, and I think he'd be a good president. But
I'm sure.
But the game they're playing is, the Republicans do this year in and year out. They beat each other up, and then they wonder why we've not had as many Republican presidents as we've had Democrats over the years. It's just like you're right. You hit the nail on the head. Look what they're doing for Biden. I mean, everybody knows he's senile. Everybody knows he's a crook, but they're still covering for him. They're just now starting to, occasionally let something leak because it's become so blatantly aware that they have.
This much, Lloyd.
At that much. Yeah, exactly. That much. Yes, you're right. Exactly. 100%. They're just enough to keep themselves from being found out as being the press for the Democrats.
That's the word. There you go. But if they actually start telling people more of the shenanigans that they do, his numbers will literally tank to the ground to the point he will have to just leave. And hopefully that lady that never been to the border yet to see how bad it is, but yet she's supposed to be the border czar, but she haven't even been over there yet since they took office. What's her name again? Kamala
Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, camel toe. There you go. Because she got a big one too. If you ever seen it.
I hope I never do.
But not everybody deserves happiness.
Yeah.
Thank you, Art.
But it's you're right, Adrian, and it's really we as conservatives and Republicans beat ourselves up because we aren't the Democrats for the most part. They're all liberal, but they're from mildly liberal to ultra liberal and all the way over to the socialist communist stream of things. But yet they all seem to stick together. We as Republicans, we've got fiscal conservatives, religious conservatives, uh,
Moderate conservatives.
Moderate conservatives. Yeah, I mean we have people that are
Social
just
issues.
slightly to their social, and we don't, we think
We think
said
of
this-
ourselves as individuals, where
yeah.
Democrats are collectivists. And that's why
Collectivists,
they
yes.
stick
Yeah.
together.
Literally a
And
hive
that's-
mind.
And that's really what socialism and communism is,
Mhm.
But what they don't understand, what most of these people don't understand, the average American liberal doesn't realize that their little group will be one of the first ones targeted once
Right.
the hive has taken over, once we become a truly socialist. And I forgot who put it up there, but this is what you would expect out of Korea, Russia, Venezuela, trying to arrest the opponent. And it's
Mhm. That would
God
be
bless
Cool
America.
Cat.
yeah, Cool Cat. Yes, right there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and something God Bless America says we really can't blame anyone but ourselves. We've been fed the information we need to know for 100% of the facts of the agenda, and we've done nothing. And that's it. I mean,
Mhm.
the way these usually work, and this is what you call. I can't say it's a bloodless clue because we've had a lot of burning and damage and stuff, but this is the way it works. They take over the broadcast, the media, they control the message. Then they start bringing in their people, and they get somebody like Joe Biden, who's been in the system for 50 plus years and hasn't really amounted to anything. Let's make him president. He's senile. We can control him. What's really scaring me is the scuttlebutt that I'm hearing now that there is a former first lady, and her name isn't Hillary, that may be taking the position up of being the nominee for the Democrats in 2024.
Oh,
And
If
You know.
that happens, Lloyd, I'm afraid that and I need you to have another soundbite ready after I say this. Art, I believe that if Hillary comes back, well, we're just gonna have to see another blowjob being made in the White House again to Bill Clinton. I don't know who's gonna be doing it though, but it ain't gonna be me.
probably Barack.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways, yeah. It's but yeah, there's a lot of noise being made about her, and there has been for a couple of months, but now it's starting to play out a little more regularly that Michelle may be the people's choice. And I hate to say it, with the way conservatives can't seem to get their collective butts together on the same message, she has a chance of getting elected if we aren't careful.
Yeah,
And that scares me. Because let's put it, I am a Trump supporter, don't get me wrong, but I think he's too old for the job, because the idea is first off, he's going to be a lame duck president, which means his running mate is going to have to be top notch, check the boxes, and still have a brain. Kamala, she checked the boxes, but she didn't have a brain.
Right.
We need something
What
like
about
that.
Vivek Ramaswamy?
He's kind of come out of nowhere. I'm not real familiar with him, but I've been seeing more and more about him. He seems to be, and he's kind of, he doesn't want to say he's playing for the VP job, but I think he is. But we need somebody young like that,
Yeah.
somebody who's in that age group who can step up, because in 4 years after the election, we're going to be doing this again, and guaranteed Trump can't run that. Can't do that.
No.
One, he'll be too old. Two, he can't do it because it's, he's had his 8 years in office and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
And I as much as I think Trump is a great guy and I support him, I don't think at this time and place he's really what we need. But we need somebody like him, somebody who can, do the same thing. And right now it's just, we've got Ron DeSantis and, like you said, Ramaswamy, and that's a hell of a name.
We got Nikki Haley. We got Tim Scott.
Tim Scott. That's another.
Don't you mention Chris Christie? If you do, if you don't
Oh.
do it, that asshole. Don't even say his name. I already said it.
He's a joke.
He is a damn joke. He needs to go somewhere and sit down somewhere. I need a fucking Twinkie.
Yeah, well, that's his problem. He's already had too many. Now, the thing, that aside, he was doing a terrible job when he was running against Trump the first in 2016. And so in the end, he ended up becoming a Trump supporter, but then he turned his back on him as soon as something bad happened.
Like I said earlier, Lord, and that's the problem with this party, is that anytime they will literally throw you under the bus just for their own agenda. They don't give a damn about nobody else but themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. There's very few true, and there again, there's where Ron DeSantis, I think, has fallen for the same trap. His advisors have told him, throw him under the bus, and he's wondering why he's struggling. It's because he's not supporting the Trump message. He's not, and he's too busy trying to get his points in and trying to get the nomination, and he's stalling. And I think if he had come in and really come in strong and said, not that Trump can't do this, but this is what I bring to the game. If they would just say what they can do, who cares what anybody else could do? You've got to have better game. You can't put the other person down. That's where they're losing. That's why we lose every friggin' time.
Right.
Hey, Lloyd, under the private chat, I think Art told you to send Mel the link. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Yeah.
Am I right, Art? Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. I was just gonna say something to Lloyd, but he was on a roll, and I didn't want to interrupt.
Hey, somebody got to do it now, because you're not doing your job.
And I wish Charles would shut up too.
Yeah, I know.
It's just that when Lloyd gets on, he's on fire.
Doing fine.
Yeah, I know. I don't shut up enough.
hey, somebody do me a favor and please turn down Charles' mic. He's just being a chatterbox. He just keep yapping out the mouth.
Yeah, he did this
I know.
last night on my drone channel too. He and Dominic, they hogged the show.
Is that right, Charles? You been on fire lately? Uh-oh,
About
somebody
like
put him on mute. Who put him on mute? Oh, stop playing around on mute. My Charles, they put you on mute. There you go.
Well, this guy doesn't need a mute button. All the way from, I have no idea if he's in Arkansas.
He's in Tennessee, or he was the last time.
Mel.
Hello from
Hey,
West
Mel.
Tennessee. I'll clear that up, Art.
You're in Tennessee?
Yep. I said hello from West Tennessee. In fact, I went
West
to
Tennessee.
Minefield yesterday and visited with all the guys for a little while.
Wonderful.
I was wondering if you went.
Yep.
How you doing, Brother Mel?
I'm doing good. Better than I deserve, I'm sure.
Amen to that. I hear that before. But anyway,
I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on this conversation real quick. It doesn't matter if Trump gets elected again, because he's not going to be able to do what we really want done, and that's clean house in the swamp, because the machine has too much power.
Exactly.
He will do what he can, like he did the first time.
Yeah.
But the machine is not beatable. And I'm going to tell you something else that I think is going to happen. Because they're already spreading the rumors that COVID is on the rise again.
Yep.
That's going to become an issue. The Democrats are going to use it again this year like they did 4 years ago. The other thing that they're going to use is, I believe they're going to try to throw in the monkey card too. Now, when they first started talking about that a couple of years ago for the primary election, I don't know if anybody followed my tip and did the research on that, but the monkey flu was in the United States 40 years ago. It's nothing new. It's not a big deal. It's only going to be blown out of proportion like they did for the 2016 election with COVID. The other thing that's coming out now is the truth about the ballot counting. They've got thousands of ballots in hand from the graveyard.
Yep.
They've got thousands of ballots in hand signed by the same person.
By the same dead people, Mel.
Yeah, and I found that to be so unfair because I paid, I put roses on every grave in our cemetery to get them people to vote for me, and not a damn one of them did. I just no, I agree with you, Mel. I'm just joking about that.
You were saying something about they want a brain dead in the office, and that doesn't matter who that is. Like you said something about Michael and how his, you know, how he doesn't have the brain for it. That's exactly who
what
the
they
machine wants, because they want a puppet that they can coach and control.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the reason why they hate Trump so much, because Trump will not allow them to go ahead and run him like a puppet.
Yeah, years ago I was up at the
people. We do the right thing as American citizens. We take the information that we think we have, and we make our decision, and we cast our ballots for the people that we think will do what we want done. That's how this system is supposed to work. And initially, we're convinced by them that they will do what we want done, and that's why we're voting for them. But once the special interest groups start lining their pockets, they forget about us and they follow the money.
There you go.
I don't care who it is. There's not a politician in Congress that hasn't went in a normal person like me trying to raise money to run a campaign and end up a millionaire, multimillionaire, or billionaire. There's not a one. And that goes for Ted Cruz all the way to Mitch McConnell. I don't care who you talk to. Every one of them are now millionaires because of special interest groups lining their pockets.
And
then you've got the two-faced like Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham talks a good story, but then he wants to send money to Ukraine and everywhere else instead of take care of the homeless people in our cities. You know?
Yeah, I'm right about that.
So the whole thing is very frustrating because we as the public make our best choice and vote for what we think we need to have change happen. But then that doesn't happen because of the special interest groups.
Where have you been all my life? Like I told my ex-wife the other day, I said, you keep running your mouth saying that you're happy Trump is going to get indicted, he's going to go to prison, but you voted for this fool and now you're crying and complaining about how expensive everything is. Well, I told you not to vote for this idiot, but you did anyway. So shut up, suck it up, and deal with it.
Yeah. I years ago, probably about 10 years now, I was going up to the VA hospital getting a lot of dental work done. And I got to know she actually ended up becoming the acting head of the VA hospital system, the Veterans Healthcare System here in this region. And I told her, I said, personally, what I'd like to see done is I'd like to see all the VA hospitals shut down except for possible research related to military exposure, different things that we've been exposed to as veterans, and put us on a friggin' insurance, that's as good as what Judy's got. Great insurance with her Medicare and VA. She has zero out of pocket, End of conversation. And her deductible is only $100. That's for the year. And they pay 80% of all of her meds if she got the Part D from Medicare. She wouldn't pay anything for her meds. But anyways, I told her this, and she says, you're right. That's what they should do. She says, unfortunately, the system has become self-aware. It is such an ingrained system in the government now that we could never. Where'd Mel go? We lost him.
I don't know.
He may have hit a
but
dead
we're
spot.
seeing Adrian's ceiling, and it is spotless.
Yeah, good ceiling there. It looks clean, Adrian. But yeah, anyways, it became self-aware. You know, it's become such a integrated part that, I mean, you can't disassemble it. And it's not I've discovered it doesn't matter who the head of the Veterans Administration is. It doesn't matter because it's set locally. It seems to be set locally, and any policies. Oh yeah, they put out a few policies here and there, but it's just to look good for the next campaign. But as far as what's really done, it's all handled locally, and so, and that's the way it is with all of our government services. If there wasn't a Congress or a Senate or a judiciary, the Supreme Court or the presidency right now, let's say something tragic were to happen, this government could still run. Pardon me. This government could still run with for another month, because it would take months to get our primary elected officials, reestablished. But the government would still run. The banks would still run. Everything would still run because the hierarchy is already there. And those are the ones that are causing our problems. It's like Mel says. Anyway,
yeah,
that was a message. I just checking, but I lost my track. I shouldn't have looked at that. I heard a ding, but no, I mean the government. We could run for months on end without it, because there's the shadow government, the alternative government, where somebody is going to step up, whether it be let's say the cabinet doesn't get taken out. The cabinet can run things, but they're not the ones who make the day-to-day decisions. It's all these individual groups that are run by people that have not been elected that are running our country. And you don't have this in other countries, because I saw several of our watchers from the UK and area in Australia. They have a little different setup, and yes, they appoint all the way down to the dog catcher through their government, and through elections, and they have a lot different system than us. And unfortunately, being part of a democratic republic does not allow us to, and this started 200 years ago, 250 years ago. This kind of stuff started, and it's just gotten worse. This is not the way our country was originally meant to run.
Before I let you guys go, I'm about to go ahead and give me a little bit of dinner and relax. I do have one last thing to say is I have quite the co-workers at my job, Art, Lloyd, Charles, everybody in the chat, that keep telling me that how I am such a sellout on a fool that I actually believe and I voted for Donald J. Trump. And my simple answer is, because I'm real simple. I just kept it real nice and cordial. And I told him, who the bleep are you to tell me who to vote for? I don't go to your house and tell you how to wash your dishes, do I? You don't pay my bills. You don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown ass 45-year-old American citizen who pay taxes like everybody else. If you chose to vote for this guy, then let me vote for who I believe. You can't tell me what to do. My mother, my father don't even tell me what to do. So who are you to tell me who to vote for? With that being said, I mean, now a whole bunch of them, Lloyd, they don't even speak to me, and I tell them real simple. So you don't ever have to talk to me anymore. I don't give a flying biscuit if you talk to me again. But the thing is that when you talk to me, keep this in mind. Respect is something that's not given. You need to earn it. And with that being said, love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Hey,
All right.
good
Thanks
having
for
you on,
popping
Adrian.
in,
Here,
Adrian.
Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah. Have a good
Always
evening.
enjoy seeing you.
God bless you. Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I
that's a
guess
good,
Mel probably has a.
he looked like he was
bad,
driving. Yeah. He
No, it looked like he was out on the porch.
Oh, he might have been
Maybe
out on the porch smoking a cigarette. Yeah, and
yeah.
he lost his
He
connection.
probably got a bad Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Very interesting. Glad Mel and Adrian popped in. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. We talked a little bit about this last week, and here he is. Mel is back. Mel, I hope you could join. We are going to talk about what's happening in Hawaii. I made a point yesterday. Nobody's talking about what started the fire in Maui. And it got me thinking, well, maybe, I don't know, eco-terrorists, like the Earth Liberation Front, or maybe there's some, group that wants to drive out some of the indigenous Hawaiians who are sitting on a gold mine because their property is so valuable, and maybe they want to get rid of them. And so they started this fire, not thinking that it was going to kill 100+ people, but it got away from them, and we got a huge tragedy going on there.
Yeah.
So,
well, Drone Shots puts up there. He says hot wires, and that's right. I've heard that. And the problem was the electric companies knew that there was a problem with their wiring, their infrastructure, and it was causing sparks. They knew it, but they weren't allowed to go in there and clear cut any of the brush away. They weren't allowed to hurt the environment. They weren't allowed to touch its natural.
Sort of like here on the mainland, so to speak, where we're not allowed to clear cut sections of the forest of dead timber, which may cause, I don't know, a huge wildfire like we had a couple of years here in Colorado.
That's 90% of the problem right there.
Yeah. And that comes from the tree huggers, And Andrew says he heard, he's over on my channel. He says he heard 4 lawsuits against Hawaiian Power Authority, and they've said, and it comes down to it's actually the local government or the government of Hawaii, the state government, that didn't allow them to go in there. They've known there was a problem. Mel, you dealt with those power lines when you were out in California, and
that's exactly what the issue was. We even had some, even on the easement. You've seen, the big erector set style structure.
Right.
They're called a lattice structure. You've seen the clearing that they make to run those power lines through. Those get overgrown just as much as the ones alongside of the road. They do a lot of maintenance alongside of the local road. Out there across the country, 50 miles, they don't do a lot of maintenance. We had places where we cheated and we flew closer to the power lines than we were supposed to because of trees and vegetation 60 feet in the air, 50 feet in the air.
Exactly.
And then I zoomed out on the image to make it look like we were further away, Those were the marginal ones. The ones that were within 10 or 15 feet of the power line, we just couldn't fly the drone that close. So I take a top down picture and tell them we can't shoot that side because of this tree line over here, and show them a picture of it. But there was several lawsuits flying at the time. That was back in the spring of 2019, spring and summer of 2019. And I don't know if those lawsuits are still flying or what, but that's exactly the issue. There's a real famous guy, and some of you probably know his name and some may not, but Ted Nugent made a very profound observation and statement. He said, for all you people that think we're killing the environment and we shouldn't be eating animals and all we should do is eat vegetation, soybean, and so forth, he said, if you're that against killing stuff, then why would you be a vegan? Because to be vegan, you have to kill everything. You have to kill every earthworm. You have to kill every beetle. You have to kill every bird. You have to kill every rabbit. You have to kill every animal that's going to go in there and eat the bean field. But yet you say you're against killing animals, so you're a vegan. You only eat weeds. Well, you can't have it both ways, folks.
Well, that's why I eat beef, because they are vegetarian. So that means I'm eating vegetarian meat.
That works.
Works for me.
And I was on my front porch, Art. That's why I lost my signal on my phone.
Yeah.
I moved my phone to try to, if I set my phone in a certain angle in a certain spot, I can actually get the 5G signal. And I did that and lost the signal. I thought, well, that wasn't so smart, was it? So I thought, well, I'll just go in on my computer and copy the link over from Facebook and use the computer.
There you go.
But so the problem with our government is the machine has too much power.
Right.
Oh, we're on a different topic now. I'm sorry.
Well, no, but it still comes down to it, because I saw, God Bless America says, the fire in Hawaii will allow the government to condemn the land and take it over, in which they will be able to sell it. And you'll see, instead of that ancient, or one of the oldest cities in Hawaii that has been burned to ground being restored, what you're going to see is a bunch of high-rise condominiums for all the rich folks to come over there and vacation. And that's all. And somebody's pocket is making money. I mean, it's just they knew it's just, and this is what happens time in and time out. And look what happens when we do allow all those liberal people to take over. Look at California right now, San Francisco, and places like that. I mean, they're just burning. People are leaving in groves. There's one of the stores there is called, I think it's called Gimps. It's a 165-year-old store, and they're fixing to leave. They've been there for 165 years, and they're going to move out of state because they can't handle the theft and the anarchy that is
Daily Wire's leaving. Daily Wire's leaving Los Angeles. They're moving to Nashville. Anybody with any brain is getting out of California.
Yeah, the only problem we have is when they leave California, they bring their damn politics with them, and they try and corrode our politics.
So I question if they really had a brain by taking their politics with them.
And I've got one reply to that, one statement to that. Don't come over here in California, my Tennessee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, they've already Californicated Colorado.
Well, Colorado was kind of that way the whole time anyway. Just not as bad. Just not as bad.
Well, the problem here is we got the Republican Party just devouring itself, and we're the smallest party, and we're almost as small as the Libertarian Party, because we are 24% of the electorate, where the unaffiliates are almost half of the the electorate here in
Yeah,
Colorado. They're
but the unaffiliates lean conservative.
no, they actually lean left here in Colorado.
Oh, in the state. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in the state. Yeah. Yeah, the average independent tends to lean a little more right, but it seems like in certain states you get the unaffiliated or independent vote. And the reason is because do you guys have open election as far as, in other words, do you have
We
to
have
be
open primaries here in
open primaries?
Colorado.
Yeah. And the reason they do that is simple. They can go vote in any schmuck for to be,
But the thing is, they can only vote once in the primary. They can't go in and vote for. They have to pick a party to vote
Yeah.
for the nominee. That's it. If they want to vote for a Democrat nominee, that's all they could do. They cannot cross vote.
Yeah, well,
in
it's
the
real simple. As
Republican.
an independent, they can go into the Republican primary and they can vote for Mitt Romney to be our presidential nominee.
Right.
Then turn around and vote for the Democrat come the primary. Or come the general election.
General, they can.
General
yeah.
election. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the problem. When you got in Oklahoma, at least it has always been that way. I have to check now. But in Oklahoma, you have to be registered to that party. You have to show you're a registered, and you are given a ballot in the primaries. You are given a ballot related to the party you belong to, and you show your card and you show your ID and you sign. Your name is there. You have to sign next to it, and you do that. And now we do have.
All that does is record which party member voted, so that they can tally the total count. You still get all the options. I mean, you can still vote for a Democrat even if you're
not in a primary. In a primary, you can only in Oklahoma. In a primary, I can only vote for the people who are running under that. In other words, the primary coming up, and let's say Donald Trump's on the ticket. DeSantis and Ramaswamy or whatever the hell his. Anyways, they'll all be on the Republican side of the ticket. I'm allowed to vote for one of those guys, but I have to be a registered Republican to vote for it because we have closed primaries, which does not allow Democrats to cross over. Now they can change their party affiliate prior to the election, and that's their workaround, and that's what they've done in the past. But for the most part, we have closed primaries. Now in the general election, we can vote for whoever the hell we want to.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That
but when it comes,
yeah, I think that's how it is in Tennessee too.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to be a member of the party you're voting for in the primary.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it should be in every damn state. Let the Democrats pick whoever the hell they want. Let the independents pick who they want. And if the independents don't have anybody running, well, then they can vote in the general, or they can join a friggin' party,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if it's the Green Party or the
point about if convicted and elected. Here's the rub. All those indictments are not necessarily crime.
Or what?
Not necessarily criminal.
Right.
They're using a pretext of illegality. If I said that right.
Illegalities.
He did. Well, Chuck talked to Lloyd. He had a governor that was convicted and elected.
Yep. And elected, yeah. He was a convicted felon and elected.
Mm-hmm.
And no, he didn't pardon himself. He wasn't allowed to. He had to serve. He had to return all of his war chest and pay fines after he was out of office. There used to be a rule that a congressman or a senator could not be stopped arrested while they were in session, because that would be construed as interfering with the governance of the state or the union. And now they arrest him and they let him go. And but he's.
I'm sorry. All this is now is election interference.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yep.
And I do listen to myself all the time, Chuck, just so you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
I'm a ventriloquist, so of course I listen to myself.
Now, will the Supreme Court step in? That's another thing. Could they say, hey, this has to happen after the election?
Yeah. And what were you going to say, Charles?
Nothing.
Oh.
There's no ruling on that, though, in the Constitution. The Supreme Court can only decipher what the Constitution says. They can't decide when things can happen. They can't make decisions. They're bound by the Constitution.
Well, unless you're a liberal.
Well,
then they get legislate from the bench. And that's why, that's how we got Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's not been convicted. And this is the whole thing. This is what people have forgot. And people are making their judgments and everything because of these. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? People like,
right.
Sorry, Chuck, but you seem to have a problem there. He's innocent. He's innocent of these charges until he's proven guilty. And that is in the Constitution. And that's what the hell we should be looking at. Why aren't people standing up and saying, wait a damn minute? All they're doing is screwing with the election instead of saying, this man's innocent. He has not been proven guilty yet.
And most of the stuff that they're trying to charge him with are not even chargeable offenses.
They in one of the things that they charged him with, it basically he gave his opinion, and his opinion might have caused something else. In other words, he exercised his right of free speech and said something, and now they're trying to, and even they said, this might not work, but we're going to do it anyways because we think it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
And and there's nothing Teflon about it. The fact is,
yeah, that's true too.
There's nothing Teflon about him because he's not even been tried on one single. Yeah, that's very true. But I know that a lot of people are saying, well, I just bounced off and he's going to get by. No, he hasn't ever been. He's been charged, but being charged doesn't mean he's been convicted. And until he is convicted, you can't say, okay, let's say he goes to trial and he's not convicted. All right, you can say, all right, now he's a Teflon Don. But he hasn't been brought to trial. And that's what decides his guilt or innocence. Not us sitting around here in this little group, saying, oh, well, I don't like him, so he's guilty. That's bullshit. He is innocent until he is convicted.
And just a little note on what Andrew said. They need to show us some evidence. Otherwise, he's innocent. That's got nothing to do with it, Andrew, when it comes right down to it. And in fact,
Constitution,
the general public has no freaking right or reason to know what the evidence is or what the trial is until it's done and becomes public record. Until then, none of us should even be giving a shit what they got for evidence or don't got or have or don't have or say or don't say.
Chuck says he's
yeah.
Chuck says that he is he's Teflon. He's a criminal with good lawyers. That's all. No different than Hillary. The difference is they've never charged Hillary. They've never brought charges against her, but they have against him. So what's the difference there? Why? And how do you know he is a criminal? Have you looked at his arrest record? Have you looked at his conviction record? You know, this is what, before we start calling somebody a criminal, let's look at their conviction record. You know, yeah, he may be a little shady in his business dealings. Most rich businessmen are. Okay? Whether they're liberals or I mean, look at George Soros. He's a rich businessman. He's a little shady in his business dealings. But they don't seem to prosecute him. He hasn't been charged or anything.
Just a little.
He's a crooked son of a bitch.
criminal.
But he has not been convicted. So I'm going with what Chuck is saying. And Chuck is, you know, got this.
Yeah, you were just a collaborator, you know.
Right. They should have charged her, but they didn't. But all they've done with Donald Trump is charge him. They have not convicted him. And people need to read the damn Constitution, said they are innocent until proven guilty. Otherwise, shut the hell up. We don't have any say in this. I agree with you, Mel. We don't need to know the evidence. He is innocent. Once they convict him and then they release the evidence, we're going to say, oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah.
But if they don't, you know, it doesn't matter.
Until it's over and done with and becomes public record, if they don't have it sealed, which they can do, it doesn't have to become public record. He's a private citizen. He does not have to release his private life. This has been brought into the public because he's a public figure. But when it comes right down to it, we have no business, no right, no authority to demand to see anything until this whole shit show is over with.
Yeah, the presumption of innocence from MSN is non-existent. I agree that our press doesn't do that. I'm just saying this is what, you know, Channel 4 put an out of context clip of Trump speaking on the phone about votes in Georgia, and it's ridiculous. Yes, they're tilting it all. You know, this is where the press is being held responsible, and people that trust the press all the time and don't start looking into these things and don't start using. You know, we need to be used especially as conservatives. Liberals, they use what the hell ever communist playbook they've got, but as conservatives, we need to start using the Constitution as our basis for making judgments. And this is the problem that we have. We've got a bunch of damn wishy-washy people that are uninformed, uneducated, and choose not to look at the Constitution as their way. Instead, they'll look at MSN or they'll look at, CNN, and so even Fox News is guilty of this. And
Fox News is not much better anymore.
They're not, and they haven't, and they haven't been for a long while. You know, they were part of the Never Trump bandwagon. It's we as the people. It's we the people. That's what this is all about. And the fact that one of our presidential candidates, who has a good chance of possibly winning again, is being targeted, and we're allowing it. That's what the problem is. We can't, and we flippantly say, oh yeah, he's getting by with that, you know, Teflon Don, but they are the political propaganda wing, Cool Cat. You are absolutely right.
And that MSM means mainstream media, in case someone's not sure.
Yeah.
Good point, Mel.
You know, but we got like PMSNBC and CNN, you know, I forgot what I used to call them, but anyways, all
New York
these groups,
Times, LA Times,
right?
Washington Post.
But we are not demanding better from our news agencies. You know, they have advertisers. We were able to do something about Bud Light. Why can't we do that about and Target? Why can't we do that about all of these groups? This is what we as conservatives should be doing as individuals. I can't stop those idiots from trying to charge President Trump. There's nothing I can do about that. But I can make an informed decision under what I believe the Constitution says, and that's what we should be doing.
I can sum that up for you, Lloyd. Why can't we do something about the media? Because we don't buy anything from the media. The Silicon Valley corporate controls the media. We can choose where we shop or don't shop as as general public. But there is absolutely nothing we can do. We don't advertise on any media platform. We don't, we don't have anything invested in that, which is why we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and we've got the problem also with our school boards, and this is why the government controls the education system. Nobody's going to give you the education you need to overthrow it. And this is the problem. And, this is, there again, the teachers' unions, they're running things, and this is, the unions have been predominantly over the last... Huh?
It's for the children.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But the unions have been running this country for the last 150 years at least.
And it all goes along hand in hand with the opening of the border. Non-U.S. citizens, according to our Constitution, don't have the right to vote in this country. Yet all these cities and states are allowing them to vote in local elections. That sways the overall primaries and presidential elections, because when you build a certain base in your local community, then you can start building that base at the state level.
And that's
once you've got it at the state level, it easily moves to the government level.
And this is why I know Art has said it many times. We need to start running for school board positions. We need to start, city council, county commissioners. Yeah, county commissioners. Yeah, exactly. And until we do that, all we're doing, the 3 or 4 of us that are here right at the moment, are sitting around. We're just bumping our gums because it's going to go in one ear and out the other. I'm pretty sure that our good friend Chuck has left now because I kind of went on a tirade, and I don't apologize for that because I believe what I believe, and I think that what I said was right. He is innocent until proven guilty. I guarantee you, if he's proven guilty, I'll be the first to point out what he did wrong. Where I go to school, just arrived in upstate New York. Yeah. This all is, this is a fight for our freedom. And I don't mean a fist fight. I mean, this is a mental fight. This is a political fight. We've got to start, we've got to, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors. If you're too old to run for the school board, then talk to your kids and see if they're young enough to do it. Get them involved, or your grandkids, stuff like that. And teach the generations. We've got to teach. If they're not teaching at school, teach history. Teach the Constitution to your kids and grandkids. Tell them the stories. Tell them about what it was like in the days back in the 50s, in the 60s, in which and a lot of this started in the 60s because of the this was a backlash, in my opinion, from the McCarthy era. And this was them fighting back. And unfortunately, we've allowed them to be on the winning side at the moment. I think there's still time for us to do something, but if we don't do something soon, we're going to lose this country.
We need to go back in history to where we actually did fight back. And I think a good place to start would be Boston Bay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Boston Bay was when we stood up for our, and you think, was it Henry David Thoreau that was in support of, what was that, civil disobedience? Wasn't it he the one who talked about?
So. One quick note, I'd like to address something in chat. God bless America. If that's your channel, then Art can play it. If it's not your channel and your video, he could stand a copyright strike for playing it. So
yeah.
So let us know if that's yours and you own the content and you're giving him permission. But if it's someone else's channel, chances are he wouldn't.
Yes, Andrew. Yeah, in Boston Harbor was the Tea Party. Yeah, and that's where the tea.
Okay, so Andrew knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where the Tea Party movement got its name. The modern Tea Party movement is based off that.
Mhm.
The problem was we just didn't stick with it. We didn't support our, and this is this next two elections. As I said personally, I think we need a younger guy. But anyways, I've talked enough. I'm going to shut up and let Charles continue his diatribe that he was on.
That I interrupted by joining in. I'm sorry, Charles.
Well, since Charles is tongue-tied,
The only thing I might have to say is, while I understand that Lloyd and Mel were talking about the legalities of what information should be out or could be out and so on and so forth, I wish to respectfully disagree with you, not over any legal issue, but simply because I want to know what's going on. I want to see how they're handling it, what information comes out. How do they react? Okay. Do they try to, do they try to cover it up? Do they try to put in negative spin on it? Do they try to, poo-poo it when it's something really important that might show, that Donald Trump really is innocent and that these charges are bogus? I just want to know in real time as it's happening. I don't want this whole thing to go to happen behind closed doors. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, well, he's guilty and we're sealing the record. So tough crap on everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with that,
that's a good point. That's a good point. But not even legality of the knowledge of the information being released. It's not even a legal issue. It doesn't even get that part, Charles. It's just the simple fact that what happens in my backyard stays in my backyard until I open my gate. Period. The end. And Donald Trump has the same right that I do.
And that's true. I mean, I understand, Charles. You're exactly right. I mean, I want to know what
we all want to know. That doesn't give us the right.
It doesn't give us the right, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't.
I'm not saying that we have the right to know.
Exactly.
I'm just saying I want to know, because I don't want like I said, I don't want all this stuff to happen behind closed doors.
Right.
And a decision is handed to the American public that might be completely unjust.
This is where we need a more open or more balanced media. Yes, thank you. More balanced, because right now all we're getting is the negative, and there's
your Veep.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I forget, he'll take over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got
the smarter version of
Is that too much for you, Mel?
Yeah, Mark White has an interesting comment. Screw you. You wouldn't win a Tea Party this time.
We probably wouldn't. I can't say that I disagree with you. I mean, good Lord.
I mean, be concerned if there was a diverse enough group going to the, and should we really be that violent? Because the way it's handed down through history, it's sort of been whitewashed a little bit.
Yep.
They snuck on a boat and threw over a few 100 pounds worth of tea. No, people died. There was bloodshed that night.
Yes, there was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're right. We need unity.
You're right, Ronnie. The problem is we are a nation where half the country, they want stuff from the government, and then we have another half of the country that wants, hey, I don't know, social, responsibility, taking care of yourself and not relying on the government. That's where we're at, because our education system has totally divided this country. So we have people that live in big cities that want it. Hey, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Congressman, could you, I feel like Oliver Twist. Could I have more?
Yeah. I want to jump back to what Charles said, and I thought of an answer to that. Yeah, legally, the legalities, it's none of our business. Mel, I agree with you on that. He's innocent until proven guilty, but all of these charges stem from when he was president. And there's where Charles is right in the fact that, look at with Richard Nixon, a distant relative of mine. He did something illegal and he covered it up. That's what caused his downfall. Not that he had hired somebody to break in. Hell, they did that all the time. All he had to do is say, yeah, okay, that was a bad. And they would have said, yeah, okay, that's not good. And he might not have been elected, okay? There again, that was a cover up and we needed to know that. And that's what caused his downfall. There again, all of these charges that are stemming right now are from when he was president of the United States. Not the fact that he's running for president again. These are all related to the time he was in office. And all of that should be made public for the public to decide, do we want him again or not? Or are these even legal charges? Mm-hmm. That's where I agree with you on that, Charles.
And
the fact
that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. Not that he's... Now, if he was in a lawsuit about, he threw a topless thong party down in Florida, and all the girls were 16 years old. All the women were wearing thongs and they're topless, okay? And they're all 16 and 15 years old. I don't need to know that, but if it turns out that he was really there, then they need to put his ass in jail and be done with it. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with the fact he was the president of the United States, and they are accusing him. And somebody wrote up there, he's been acquitted twice. That was only in the impeachment. That was the impeachment hearing, which is who should handle any presidential situations. He's yet to be acquitted on any of these charges, these 4 indictments that have been brought against him. And there's multiple counts of these 4 indictments, and some of them are so ridiculous that it makes me look like a genius.
Oh, but next week they're going to indict him for ripping the tag off of the mattress.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
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 Well, I was doing a little bit of research for today's show, and apparently Marjorie Taylor Greene says that he's going to be indicted a 5th time for something. All I read was the headline. I didn't read the article, so I have no idea.
Yeah, and I've heard that they expect a 5th one to come down. It's real simple. If you get enough indictments stacked up against him, all he's got to do is plead guilty on one of them just to get the others to go away. Well, then that, and they'll make sure it's a felony because he can't run if it's a felony. If it's a misdemeanor, he can run all he wants. I mean, hell, most of those congressmen up there have misdemeanors for drunken driving or tickets or speeding or whatever, Yeah,
but all the stuff that he was indicted from the DA in New York City, even though they're not actually felonies, he's being charged with felonies.
Right. Yeah. And that's where he's being charged with felonies. They've managed to turn that around. Now they're trying to use the RICO Act against him, which is one of the charges coming out of Georgia was under the RICO Act.
Wow.
That's a stretch at the best, But unfortunately, I'm sure Chuck ain't going to be my favorite person. I'm not going to be his favorite person this week, and I apologize for that. But it's, I have a strong belief that for us to understand our country, we need to know our history, and we need to know our Constitution, and we need to stand by it. And one of the foremost things of the Constitution is that a person is innocent until proven guilty.
May I?
We seem to forget that.
Lloyd?
Sure.
There's been a couple of times where you've said, I disagree, or he disagrees with me, and I apologize for that. First of all, I'm going to criticize you for doing that. You shouldn't apologize for it.
Well,
and I won't.
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of people don't like me, and that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah. Oh, and I agree. I mean, I still stand up for my beliefs, and I think that my beliefs are right. It is his problem. I understand that. I mean, it's too bad, but it is,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh,
so you can claim it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
Oh, Lloyd, you're going to get slapped with a sexual harassment suit.
I can already see it. Yeah, it's coming from. Well, it's because of
You
Bertha.
dirty rat bastard, you. Boy,
Yeah,
I
it's
tell you
bec-
what now.
It's because of Bertha, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what.
Better
That's
not let
that's,
MSNBC get a hold of that story.
Yeah. I don't think that nobody's managed to drop anything on any of the major networks I'm even running. It's like I may win because nobody knows I'm running, and everybody's going to vote for me, and they don't have any dirt on me because they don't know I'm running. That's the way to win.
Yeah. The old fart and the midget. Yeah.
The old fart and the midget. There you go. Hey, we check a couple, 2 or 3 boxes: the seniors, the senile, the short people.
Yep.
Either one of you left-handed?
No, unfortunately, no. But I can always use a good left-handed person in my cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that and I'm left-handed, just so that I still get to be the what's the guy called, the somebody of war,
the Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, they wimpied the title.
Yeah.
Bunch of wusses.
Well, didn't they had Secretary of the Navy and the Secretary.
Well, yeah, but the Secretary of War was what is now the modern day Secretary of Defense. They changed it.
Right.
I can't remember if it was after World War II. I believe it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Became Secretary of Defense because, he was the Secretary of War up until, and he's the Secretary over the 5 departments or the 5 different services in this 5 branches. Thank you. That's why you're there. That's why you're VP. Anyways, he's the Secretary over the 5 branches.
6.
What's the 6? Oh, yeah, Space Force. I forgot it's been added now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are 6 now. Hey, when I was in the Coast Guard, they were like game wardens to us. They just didn't really. But now they're apparently one of the 5 branches, and I can see they do a lot. But yeah, so the Secretary. So yeah, as a left-handed male, you can be my Secretary of Defense /War. I'm gonna bring that title back to its. Yeah, I'm going to bring that back to its majestic
glory.
Yes,
there you go.
Yeah.
But I smoke right-handed cigarettes, not left-handed ones.
That's appreciated because it's that's appreciated. And
I don't have any white powder in my house.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I do, but it's called sugar and flour. And I damn sure ain't going to snort it.
Mel and Lloyd, they always have a butt in their mouth.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
I can't argue that.
Lloyd?
Yeah. I know, Lloyd? Right? Yeah.
I don't even have a good comeback.
I know. I don't either. I was like, what the hell? It's like,
on that, we've done way over an hour.
Oh, hell, we have, haven't we?
I thank everybody in the chat for coming, even Chuck. You guys are important, and we, what?
Sure.
The chat was going like crazy, which helps the algorithm. And please leave a thumbs up. Also, over on my channel, that also helps out with the algorithm. We want to grow this channel so that we could, not only get monetized, but get our message out.
We'll get demonetized too.
Yeah. So everybody have a great week and catch you next time and stay informed. Good night, y'all.
Before we go,
okay.